In the 60s, we can certainly say that Maria Callas was already away from the opera stages. Of course, one can say that no, she had a presentation in the 62, and what about the 64? But they were very occasional. So we need to start by accepting that Maria was already pretty much gone in the 60s. And so, with the need, with the hunger for a new star, not only on the side of the public, but moreover, and even worse, this predacious hunger from the marketing companies, that's where the name Elena Suliotis came up. Elena Suliotis, in the same way as Maria Callas was born in Greek, so in Greece, sorry, so she's from a Greek ascendance. You know that Maria Callas went to live to the United States, her family. Same case for Elena Suliotis, whose family took her to Argentina. So Maria Callas is that's why she's called the Greek American soprano, and Elena Suliotis would be the Greek Argentinian soprano. And Elena Suliotis in those 60s started a very interesting career, if you allow me the expression or the adjective of interesting, and it is what many people call the copy of Maria Callas. For many people, Elena Suliotis was nothing but a lady who wanted to be a copy of Maria. Others, a little more generous, said that she was the successor of the great Maria Callas, La Divina. And let's take a look a little into this. So going back to the question, was Elena Suliotis a copy of Maria Callas, or in a different way, did Elena Suliotis want to be as successful as Maria? The answer, of course, it is a yes. If you ask, not only if we could ask directly Elena Suliotis, who passed away around 20 years now, if we could ask Elena Suliotis, of course she would reply, I want to be not only as famous as Maria, I want to be more famous than Maria Callas. But it is not only the question for Elena Suliotis. If you ask to maybe any soprano who has lived after Maria Callas, if you ask any of them if they want to be as famous as Maria, the answer is of course. I want to be as or even greater than La Divina. Because remember that marketing has done a great job. So everybody knows the name of Maria Callas. So any artist, would you like to be as famous as that one? The answer is of course yes. Even if they don't like the artistry of Maria, anybody could reply, yes, of course, I want to be as famous or even more as a given artist. So that is a tricky question. So would she have followed her path in terms of repertory? Let's take a look at the operas or most of the roles that she sang. She sang Nabucco, of course, the almost impossible role to sing of Abigail. Now, Callas sang it not often and mainly in her initial stage. So, if you think, would Suliotis like to approach opera in the same way that Maria singing the role of Abigail? The answer is probably yes. Nabucco is a difficult role, and if you want to prove yourself to the eyes of everybody in the world, you would go for Nabucco. Gioconda, she also sang Gioconda, which Maria also sang barely, but still Gioconda is a a super heavy role. Lady Macbeth, yes, Callas also sang it more at the initial phase of her career, and so Suliotis decided to go for Lady Macbeth, which is also an almost impossible role to sing. So keep counting because we have already counted three very impossible roles: Abigail, Gioconda, and Lady Macbeth. She could sing Amelia, Luisa Miller, Aida, Leonora, and Desdemona. Take a look at this. Those roles are from Maestro Verdi. They are Verdian roles. Amelia, Luisa Miller, Aida, Leonora, and Desdemona. Is Maestro Verdi's repertoire easy to sing, we have said a number of times, it is not. So up to now, Elena Suliotis sang eight of the most difficult, heavy roles for her tesitura. She was, we will talk about it in a second, she was a soprano, and of course, a soprano. And uh, before leaving the point of the repertoire, she also sang Tosca, which we already know Tosca is a very difficult role to sing as well. And she added two bel canto roles. She went for Norma and she went for Ana Bolena. Of course, if you want to be seen as a successor of someone as or even better artist than Maria Callas, you need Norma and you need Ana Bolena. Norma, because you know that Norma is the iconic role of Maria along with Traviata. So, yeah, I could say, yeah, she coped or she felt she could manage Norma. As for Ana Bolena, remember that Ana Bolena was revived by Maria Callas, of course, as well as Leila Gencher, of which we have talked, and I think we will go back to Leila. So I don't think Ana Bolena is a coincidence. I also think that she went for Ana Bolena because she wanted to be compared and surpass Maria. I was forgetting to say that besides Tosca, she also sang Minnie from La Fanciulla del West, also a very heavy role for a soprano. So by just taking a look at all these roles, are all these roles that Maria sang? Most of them, yes, because Maria never really sang Desdemona. The recording that she makes with Pippo Di Stefano at the end is just an exception. But Maria really never sang Desdemona the same way she really didn't sing Luisa Miller. But she also never sang Minnie from La Fanciulla del West. So there is a good number of these ones that are similar to the repertoire of Maria's, and the question here is that she started singing. Suliotis started singing when she was in her 20s, same way as Maria. But the thing about Suliotis, in a way similar to Maria, is that her technique was not very well accomplished. So picture this, a very young soprano, very young with good qualities. Of course, she had very good vocal resources. So a soprano with very good vocal resources but with poor technique, going for almost all of the heaviest and most difficult roles that are for a more accomplished, mature, or technically wise, better soprano. Of course, the result out of this is that she lost her voice. Some people say that after 10 years, some others say that it was in fact in 5. Truth is that if you take a look at her recordings, it is true that she started to have some problems after 5 years, and by after 10 years, her voice was very basically destroyed. But remember that if you take into account Maria's and that her first struggles in her voice are in 1952, it was pretty much the same case as Maria, only Maria lasted longer, but not much longer. It appears that we are facing two cases of singers who couldn't wait for fame to arrive and who did everything to achieve the most difficult roles before their voice was ready for that. Also remember that Maria went for higher roles, which shouldn't have been the case. She sang high coloratura roles, even if they were only in arias, but she sang Armida, which of course, even though she did it well, Armida is way too high for her. She also sang Puritani, which also way too high for her. So at the end is that the two of them didn't seem, or not didn't seem. Truth is, the two of them didn't make the best decisions in managing their careers. That's why many people also, I was telling you that Elena Suliotis had a very poor technique. That's why many people complain that her high notes seem to be yelled, and that the middle and low register seem not homogeneous, and that she has trouble making use of her whole range, which is basically true. but you have to take into account that for a lady in her 20s, it takes time to mature not only in the voice but in the technique. But well, she played her cards, she went for it. Also, you may ask before we close, why was she compared to Maria? Not only because of the roles, not only because of the difficulty, but because Elena Suliotis gave it all on stage. Elena Suliotis, the same way as Maria, was a volcano on stage. Elena Suliotis could make people really live the character of the opera. And for that, she's always to be remembered. Her ego made her make all those wrong decisions, but don't forget that marketing is still around. And I cannot only think of the many times her manager and the publishing record firm pushing her to go for more and more roles. Pretty much the case of what happens to many singers now. Marketing or recording companies find a good voice, an attractive, physically attractive person, and they push and push and push and push until they have drained everything out of him. If you feel like it, you can always go and check on the existing Elena Suliotis recordings.